First Contact and Desperate Alliance. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the viewport of the HSS Valiant, watching the unfamiliar stars of the Carina Arm drift past. After 15 years of deep space exploration, humanity had grown accustomed to the silence of space. They'd found plenty of habitable worlds, abundant resources, and countless mysteries, but never intelligent life. That changed today. Captain, quantum disturbance detected ahead. Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from his sensor station. Multiple signatures, larger than anything in our database. Chen's fingers tightened on the rail. Show me. The main display lit up with a cascade of energy readings. Hundreds of vessels, their designs completely alien, emerged from what appeared to be some form of faster-than-light travel. Their ships looked like they were grown rather than built, with organic curves and surfaces that seemed to pulse with internal light. But they weren't alone. Behind them, darker shapes appeared. Angular vessels bristling with weapon emplacements, their hulls covered in what looked like organic armor plating. They moved with predatory grace, methodically closing the distance to the fleeing ships. Multiple energy signatures consistent with weapons fire, Rodriguez reported, his voice tight. The pursuing vessels are engaging the lead group. Chen watched as one of the fleeing ships took a direct hit. Instead of exploding, it seemed to crystallize, the crew section visible through suddenly transparent hull plating before it shattered into space. The sight sent a chill down her spine. "Ma'am," Communications Officer Park's voice cut through the tension. "We're receiving a transmission. It's converting through the universal translator matrix." A voice filled the bridge, musical yet filled with desperation. "To any sentient species receiving this transmission, we are the Sylphian Collective, a peaceful species fleeing extinction at the hands of the Void Hunters. Our refugee fleet carries 2 million civilians. We beg for assistance or asylum. We have children aboard." The transmission cut off as another ship crystallized and shattered. Chen didn't hesitate. Battle stations. All hands to combat positions. Weapons, prepare main gun batteries. Lieutenant Park, broadcast on all frequencies. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the human starship Valiant. We stand ready to assist." Her crew moved with practiced efficiency, the product of countless drills and the inherent toughness that came from evolving on Earth. Humanity had built their ships like themselves, over-engineered, heavily armored, and designed to survive conditions that would crush most vessels. They hadn't known why they needed such durability in space. Now they did. "Void Hunter vessels are altering course," Rodriguez reported. "They're moving to engage us. Energy readings suggest their weapons are charging." "Let them come," Chen said, her voice hard. "Tactical. Analysis of their weapon systems. Some kind of crystallization beam, Captain. It seems to work by altering the molecular structure of the target." But Lieutenant Wang paused at his tactical station, double-checking his readings. "Their weapons are calibrated for the Sylphian ships. Given our hull composition and density, they'll have minimal effect on us." Chen allowed herself a grim smile. What had seemed like evolutionary overkill, humanity's dense bones, powerful muscles, and natural resistance to environmental extremes, had produced a species that built ships to match. The Valiant's hull was meters thick, layered with ablative armor, and designed to withstand pressures that would implode most vessels. "All ahead full," she ordered. "Move to intercept. Launch fighter screen. Weapons free. Target their propulsion systems first. Let's see how they like fighting something that can hit back." The Valiant surged forward, its massive engines pushing it to combat speed. The first crystallization beam struck their bow and splashed harmlessly off the armor. "Minimal effect," Captain Wang reported with satisfaction. "Our hull density is too high for their weapon to propagate the crystallization effect. Return fire. Show them what Earth-made weapons can do." The Valiant's main guns opened up, spitting lances of superheated plasma at relativistic speeds. The first salvo caught a Void Hunter vessel square in the bow. Instead of crystallizing, the ship simply came apart, its organic armor unable to withstand the raw destructive power of human weapons. Sylphine fleet is regrouping behind us, Rodriguez reported. They're forming some kind of defensive pattern. Void hunters are breaking formation, Wong added. 3 vessels destroyed, 2 more showing heavy damage. They're retreating. Chen watched as the dark ships turned away, accelerating rapidly. They'd clearly never encountered resistance like this before. Their weapons, evolved to fight the more delicate Sylphian ships, were useless against human engineering. Stand down to condition yellow, she ordered. Maintain fighter screen, and keep weapons hot. Lieutenant Park, see if you can establish clear communications with the Sylphian fleet. Minutes later, a holographic figure appeared on the bridge, tall, ethereal, with translucent skin that pulsed with internal light. The Sylphian representative bowed deeply. I am first speaker, Lyra, the alien said, its voice maintaining that musical quality even through the translator. We have never seen combat capability like yours. The Void Hunters have hunted us across 12 star systems. None could stand against them until now. Humanity evolved on what you'd probably call a death world, Chen explained. High gravity, dense atmosphere, extreme weather, predators. It made us tough. Made our ships tough too. We didn't know why we needed all that durability in space. Maybe now we do. Lyra's skin pulsed with patterns that the translator couldn't decode. The universe has a strange sense of harmony, Captain Chen. We Sylphians evolved to be peaceful, to create rather than destroy. But in doing so, we became vulnerable to species like the Void Hunters. Perhaps we were meant to find each other. Chen looked at her crew, humans who had evolved to survive Earth's harsh conditions, whose very biology had forced them to build ships stronger than any others in known space. Then she looked at the Sylphian fleet, their ships beautiful and advanced in ways humanity hadn't imagined, but vulnerable without protection. First speaker, Lyra, she said formally. I think this is the beginning of a very interesting alliance. We have a saying on Earth, peace through strength. Maybe we can provide the strength while you show us better ways to use it. As the Valiant moved to escort the refugee fleet to safety, Chen couldn't help but wonder at the irony. Humanity had looked to the stars expecting to find creatures more advanced, more evolved than themselves. Instead, they'd found a galaxy that desperately needed exactly what Earth's harsh evolution had created, protectors strong enough to stand against the darkness. The universe, it seemed, had plans of its own. The battle for Haven Station. 3 months after the Valiant's first encounter with the Sylphians, Haven Station hung in high orbit above the colony world of New Terra. The massive structure was an unlikely fusion of human and Sylphian engineering. Blocky human-designed armor and weapon systems protecting the graceful, crystalline architecture of Sylphian living spaces. Commander James Martinez walked through one of the station's main corridors, his heavy boots clicking against the deck plating. Even after months of cooperation, the contrast between humans and their new allies never ceased to amaze him. A group of Sylphian engineers floated past, their translucent bodies pulsing with patterns of green and blue as they coordinated their work without speaking. Their natural ability to operate in zero gravity made them perfect for space station maintenance, while their human counterparts needed magnetic boots and safety lines. Commander, a melodic voice called out, a moment of your time. Martinez turned to find first speaker Lyra approaching, her form casting subtle rainbows on the corridor walls. Of course, speaker. How can I help? Our long-range sensors have detected something troubling. Lyra's skin flickered with patterns of concern. The Void Hunters are adapting their tactics. They're gathering in larger numbers, and our analysis suggests they're modifying their weapons. Martinez nodded grimly. They'd known this was coming. The Void Hunters weren't used to failure, and humanity's intervention had cost them their prey. Show me. In the station's tactical center, holographic displays showed clusters of dark ships moving through neighboring systems. Their organic armor had grown thicker, and new crystallization projectors dotted their hulls. They're learning, Lieutenant Emma Wong said from her station. The tactical officer had transferred from the Valiant to help coordinate Haven's defenses. These new weapon configurations could theoretically affect even our armor if they concentrate enough beams on a single point. Martinez studied the tactical projections. The Void Hunter's adaptation wasn't surprising. Any species that survived long enough to achieve spaceflight had to be capable of learning and evolving their strategies. But they weren't the only ones who could adapt. Speaker Lyra, he said, how are the integrated defense systems coming along? Lyra's form brightened slightly. The merger of our shield technology with your armor has exceeded expectations. The crystalline matrices amplify the defensive field's strength by 300%, while your armor provides backup if the shields fail. And the offensive capabilities. See for yourself. The main display shifted to show Haven's outer ring. What looked like standard human defense turrets were mounted at regular intervals, but they gleamed with an inner light that pulsed in sync with the station's Sylphian power core. We've adapted your plasma weapons to channel through our crystal focusing arrays, Lyra explained. The effect is rather impressive. As if on cue, alarms blared through the station. Multiple contacts. Wong shouted. Void Hunter signatures. At least 30 vessels. They're moving fast. Wait, energy spike. The first shots from the Void Hunter fleet struck Haven's shields. Instead of the expected crystallization effect, the beams scattered across the surface of an iridescent barrier, their energy dissipating harmlessly. Shields holding at 92%. A Sylphian operator reported, their skin pulsing with calm blue patterns. Crystallization effect cannot penetrate the integrated matrix. Martinez allowed himself a small smile. Return fire. All batteries. Haven's defense turrets came to life. Streams of plasma, focused and amplified by Sylphian crystals, lashed out at the attacking fleet. Where standard human weapons would have simply pierced their targets, these enhanced beams caused the Void Hunter's organic armor to resonate and tear itself apart. Direct hits on multiple vessels, Wong reported with satisfaction. Their armor is failing. They didn't expect this kind of firepower. The Void Hunters attempted to regroup, concentrating their fire on what they perceived as weak points in Haven's defenses. But the station's hybrid design left them no vulnerabilities to exploit. Every human-engineered armor plate was protected by Sylphian shields, every Sylphian crystal housing reinforced by human durability. Launch fighter screen, Martinez ordered. Let's show them our new toys. From Haven's launch bays, a new type of fighter emerged. They had the robust construction of human vessels, but moved with the fluid grace of Sylphian ships. Each was piloted by a human-Sylphian crew pair, combining human combat instincts with Sylphian coordination. The effect was devastating. The fighters moved in perfect formation, their human pilots pushing the machines to their structural limits, while their Sylphian partners maintained their energy systems at peak efficiency. The Void Hunters, used to fighting either human durability or Sylphian grace, had no defense against both combined. Enemy fleet is withdrawing, Wong announced after 20 minutes of combat. Confirmed destruction of 12 vessels, severe damage to 8 more. No casualties on our side. Martinez turned to Lyra, who was glowing with a mixture of relief and pride. You know they'll be back, he said quietly. And they'll be stronger. Yes, Lyra agreed, her tone thoughtful. But they don't understand what they're truly fighting against. They see our technological adaptation, but they miss the deeper change, which is, the Void Hunters believe that strength comes from domination, from breaking others. But true strength, the kind that humanity showed when you chose to help us, comes from standing together. Each battle makes that bond stronger. Martinez watched as human and Sylphian crews worked seamlessly to repair minor damage and recharge defense systems. 3 months ago, these species hadn't known each other existed. Now they move like they'd evolved together, each compensating for the other's weaknesses. We're not just defending Haven, Lyra continued, her glow intensifying. We're showing the galaxy a new way forward. The Void Hunters evolved to hunt alone. They can't understand the power of true cooperation. As if to emphasize her point, a group of human engineers passed by, discussing shield modifications with their Sylphian counterparts. The humans' practical experience with structural stress complemented the Sylphians' intuitive understanding of energy fields perfectly. Speaking of cooperation, Martine said, "I hear the joint training program is ready to begin." Lyra's skin rippled with patterns of anticipation. "Yes. Your combat instructors have developed some fascinating methods to help our people unlock their defensive potential. And in return, we have much to teach humanity about the efficient use of energy and resources." Martinez nodded. The battle for Haven Station had proved their technologies could work together. The next step was to see how far their peoples could evolve together. The Void Hunters were about to discover that adapting their weapons wouldn't be enough. They were fighting something far stronger than mere technology. Evolution of warriors. Chief Combat Instructor Maya Patel watched as 24 Sylphian trainees moved through Haven Station's zero-gravity combat chamber. Their naturally luminescent bodies created streaks of light as they practiced evasive maneuvers, their movements becoming more confident with each passing day. "Better," she called out through the comm system. "But remember, in combat, predictable means dead. Vary your patterns." The Sylphians responded immediately, their formations shifting into more complex configurations. Maya smiled. What they lacked in natural combat instincts, they made up for with incredible spatial awareness and coordination. Their bodies pulsed with patterns of concentration as they communicated silently among themselves. "Impressive progress," a voice said behind her. Maya turned to find Dr. Zane Chen, the station's chief xenobiologist and brother of the Valiant's captain. 6 weeks ago, most of them couldn't even hold a weapon. "They're fast learners," Maya agreed, "and they bring perspectives we never considered. Watch this. Combat Scenario 3. Initiate." The chamber's holographic systems activated, filling the space with simulated Void Hunter drones. The Sylphian trainees immediately split into pairs, each duo moving in perfect synchronization. Where human fighters would have engaged directly, the Sylphians used the drone's momentum against them, creating complex interference patterns with their energy weapons. "They're treating combat like a dance," Zane observed, "using minimal energy for maximum effect. Very different from our usual overwhelming force approach." Maya nodded. "We're learning as much from them as they are from us. Speaking of which, how's the biological integration project coming along?" Zane's eyes lit up with scientific excitement. "The results are fascinating. The Sylphians' natural ability to process and channel energy isn't just technological, it's part of their cellular structure. We're developing training methods that could help humans tap into similar capabilities, while they're learning to enhance their physical density using principles derived from our biology." Their discussion was interrupted by an alert from the training chamber. One of the Sylphian trainees, Iris, had achieved a perfect score in the combat simulation, a first for their species. "Well done, Iris," Maya called out. The Sylphian's body glowed brighter with pride, patterns of achievement rippling across her translucent form. "Instructor Patel," Iris responded, her musical voice carrying the subtle harmonics of deep satisfaction. "I believe I understand now what you meant about the relationship between strength and restraint. It's not about how much force you can exert. It's about applying the right force at the right moment," Maya finished. "You've got it, and that's something your people naturally excel at." The chamber's entrance cycled open, admitting Commander Martinez and first speaker Lyra. The commander's expression was grim. "Show them," he said to Lyra. The Sylphian leader gestured, and a holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber. It showed a distant star system where a Void Hunter fleet was gathering. But these ships were different. Their organic hulls had been modified with crystalline growths that pulsed with familiar energy patterns. "They're adapting," Lyra explained, her glow dimming with concern. "These vessels show signs of integrated Sylphian technology, harvested from ships they destroyed before we found sanctuary with humanity. They're learning to use our own strengths against us." Maya studied the tactical display, her mind already calculating adjustments to the training program. Then we'll have to adapt faster. Iris, gather the advanced training group. Commander, with your permission, I think it's time to implement Phase 2. Martinez nodded. Granted. Dr. Chen, how soon can your team begin the enhanced integration procedures? The first volunteers are ready now, Zane replied. Both human and Sylphian subjects have passed all preliminary tests. The next day, Maya stood in Haven's medical bay, watching as Dr. Chen prepared the first group of volunteers for the integration process. 4 humans and 4 Sylphians lay in specially designed chambers that hummed with combined human and Sylphian technology. The process works on the cellular level, Zane explained to the observers. For the humans, we're using Sylphian energy channeling principles to enhance their neural pathways and muscle efficiency. For the Sylphians, we're introducing synthetic compounds based on human biology to increase their structural density and resistance to physical stress. And it's safe? Martins asked. As safe as any evolutionary leap, Zane replied. But necessary. The Void Hunters are forcing us to advance decades of natural adaptation into weeks. The procedure took 6 hours. Maya watched as her best human student, Lieutenant Sarah Wong, emerged from her chamber. The young woman moved with a new grace, her movements flowing like a Sylphian's, while maintaining human strength. Beside her, Iris stepped from her chamber, her crystalline form now bearing subtle patterns that resembled human muscle structure. How do you feel? Maya asked them. Connected, Sarah replied, her eyes wide with wonder. I can feel the energy flows around me, like the Sylphians describe. But I'm still strong, still solid. Grounded, Iris added, her glow pulsing with new intensity. I understand now why humans value physical presence so much. It doesn't make me less Sylphian, it makes me more. Over the next week, the integrated teams began their combined training. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. Human-Sylphian pairs moved as single units, combining physical power with energy manipulation in ways neither species had thought possible. Their combat simulations achieved unprecedented efficiency ratings. But more importantly, Maya noticed they were teaching each other beyond mere combat skills. The humans learned patience and precision from their Sylphian partners, while the Sylphians gained confidence and tactical thinking from the humans. They're not just learning to fight, Lyra observed, watching the training sessions with Martinez. They're learning to become something new, something neither of our species could have achieved alone. Evolution through cooperation instead of competition, Martinez agreed. Let's hope it's enough. The Void Hunters' new fleet will reach us in less than a month. Maya watched as her students, human and Sylphian alike, moved through increasingly complex combat patterns. They were no longer simply 2 species working together. They were becoming living proof that strength could come from unity rather than dominance. The Void Hunters thought they were adapting by stealing and corrupting Sylphian technology. They didn't understand that true evolution came from something deeper, the willing exchange of strengths between allies who chose to stand together. The real question was, would this new evolution happen fast enough to face the coming storm? The turning point. The command center of Haven Station hummed with tension as Captain Sarah Chen of the Valiant studied the tactical display. The Void Hunter fleet had grown to over 100 vessels, their modified ships now bearing corrupt versions of Sylphian crystal technology. But something about their formation bothered her. They're too spread out, she muttered, her enhanced senses, a gift of the integration process, picking up energy patterns in the tactical display that she would have missed before. They're not just preparing for an attack. They're protecting something, Lieutenant Sarah Wong finished. The tactical officer's own integrated abilities had made her extraordinarily sensitive to spatial relationships. The center of their formation. There's a void there, a deliberate empty space. First Speaker Lyra floated forward, her crystalline form now bearing the subtle density patterns of human integration. A void in the Void Hunters, she mused. Most appropriate. But what are they hiding? The answer came 3 days later, when Haven's long-range sensors detected a massive energy surge from the center of the Void Hunter fleet. The empty space filled with a shape that made even the veteran crew members gasp, a vessel nearly twice the size of Haven Station itself, its organic hull writhing with corrupted crystal formations. Analysis, Chen demanded. It's like nothing we've seen before, Dr. Zane Chen reported from his science station. They've taken the principles of our integration program and twisted them. That ship isn't just using Sylphine technology. It's trying to merge Void Hunter biology with crystalline energy matrices on a massive scale. Commander Martinez's expression hardened. They're mocking us, taking our greatest strength, our ability to work together, and corrupting it into a weapon. No, Lyra said suddenly, her glow brightening with realization. They're showing us their weakness. Look at the energy patterns. They're forcing the integration, trying to dominate both technologies instead of letting them work in harmony. It's unstable. Captain Chen leaned forward, her integrated senses confirming Lyra's observation. The massive vessel's energy signature pulsed erratically, its forced merger of technologies creating feedback patterns that rippled through its entire structure. Can we exploit that instability? She asked. Better, Wang replied, her fingers dancing over her tactical display. We can use it against their entire fleet. Their ships are all connected to that central vessel. They're using it as a coordination hub. But the connection goes both ways. Understanding dawned across the command center. The Void Hunters had created their own weakness in their attempt to match the human-Sylphine alliance. They didn't understand that true integration couldn't be forced. Begin Operation Harmony, Chen ordered. All integrated crews to their stations. Launch the new fighter squadrons. It's time to show them the difference between domination and cooperation. Haven Station came alive with activity. The first wave of fighters launched. Sleek vessels that combined human durability with Sylphine crystal technology, each piloted by an integrated human-Sylphine pair. They moved with impossible grace, their human pilots' natural combat instincts enhanced by Sylphine energy manipulation. Void Hunter fleet is responding, Wang reported. They're launching fighters of their own, biomechanical units with crystalline weapons. The space around Haven erupted in combat, but where the Void Hunter ships fought with brute force and stolen technology, the human Sylphine fighters moved like a single organism. Each pair of pilots functioned as one mind, their shared consciousness allowing for maneuvers that would have been impossible for either species alone. Enemy fighters are breaking formation, Wang announced. Their forced integration is making them unstable under combat stress. Moving to Phase 2. The next wave launched, larger vessels crewed by teams of integrated personnel. These ships carried the products of 3 months of joint research and development. As they moved into position, they began generating complex energy fields that resonated with the unstable frequencies of the Void Hunter's stolen technology. Main vessel is showing signs of severe structural stress, Dr. Chen reported. The resonance is cascading through their entire network. Their forced integration is literally tearing itself apart. Captain Chen watched as the massive Void Hunter vessel began to buckle, its corrupted crystal structures shattering under the harmonic assault. The destruction cascaded through their fleet, each ship's forced integration failing as the central control node collapsed. They're retreating, Wang reported. 80% of their fleet is showing critical systems failure. The remainder are jumping to FTL. The command center erupted in celebration, but Chen noticed Lyra's thoughtful expression. What is it, first speaker? We didn't just win a battle today, Lyra said softly. We proved something fundamental about the nature of strength. The Void Hunters tried to take our surface achievements, our technology, our methods, without understanding the principles beneath them. Martinez nodded. They thought they could force 2 different systems to work together through dominance. They never understood that true integration has to be voluntary, has to be built on mutual respect and cooperation. A lesson that humanity learned long ago, Chen added. Our own history taught us that forcing cooperation never works as well as earning it. As the cleanup began, Chen watched her integrated crews working seamlessly together. Humans and Sylphians moved as one, each complementing the other's abilities naturally. What had started as a desperate alliance had evolved into something unprecedented. Two species growing stronger by choice, each maintaining their unique identity while learning to be more than they were alone. "They'll be back," Martine said, joining her at the viewport. "The Void Hunters don't know how to give up." "No," Chen agreed, "but next time they'll face something they've never encountered before. A truly united force, and we'll be ready." The stars beyond Haven seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the glow of possibility that came with this victory. The human-Sylphian alliance had proven that evolution didn't have to come through conflict. Sometimes the greatest strength came from learning to work together, from choosing to be more than what you were born to be. The Void Hunters would never understand that, and that would be their ultimate downfall. Legacy of Two Worlds. 6 months after the Battle of Haven, the combined human-Sylphian fleet hung in formation around a massive spatial anomaly. The Void Hunters had retreated here, to the edge of known space, for their final stand. The dark mass of their remaining ships clustered around what appeared to be a tear in space itself, a wound in reality that pulsed with otherworldly energy. "Now we know where they came from," Captain Sarah Chen said, standing on the Valiant's bridge. "They're not just hunters. They're interdimensional invaders." The tactical display showed the full extent of the situation. The Void Hunters had gathered their remaining forces around the spatial tear, but they weren't just defending it. Energy readings suggested they were trying to widen it. "They're calling for reinforcements," First Speaker Lyra observed, her crystalline form pulsing with complex patterns of concern. Their defeated Haven has forced them to reveal their true nature. "Multiple dimensional signatures detected," Lieutenant Wong reported from her tactical station. "They're pulling something big through that tier." The space around the anomaly twisted, and massive shapes began to emerge. Void Hunter vessels larger than anything they'd encountered before, their organic hulls writhing with corrupted technologies stolen from countless worlds. "Those ships," Dr. Chen said, his enhanced senses analyzing the readings, "they're not just carrying weapons. They're carrying entire ecosystems. The Void Hunters don't just hunt. They transplant their entire way of life into our dimension, consuming everything in their path." Commander Martinez's voice came through the comm from his position on Haven Station. "All ships, Battle Formation Omega. Remember your training. We're not just fighting for ourselves now. We're fighting for every species in this galaxy." The human-Sylphian fleet moved as one. Months of integration had produced ships and crews that represented the perfect fusion of both species' strengths. Human durability and combat instincts melded seamlessly with Sylphian energy manipulation and coordination. The Void Hunters struck first, their dimensional tear pulsing as they channeled its energy into their weapons. Space itself seemed to crystallize and shatter wherever their beams struck, but the integrated shields of the Allied fleet held firm. "Return fire," Chen ordered. "All ships, execute Operation Legacy." The battle that followed would be remembered for generations. Human Sylphian fighters danced through the chaos, their integrated pilots moving with impossible grace while delivering devastating attacks. Larger vessels coordinated their fire with perfect precision, their combined weapon systems creating cascading energy patterns that the Void Hunters couldn't predict or counter. But the real key to victory came from an unexpected source. As the battle raged, Dr. Chen and a team of integrated scientists had been analyzing the dimensional tear itself. "Captain," he called out suddenly, "we found something. The tear, it resonates at the same frequency as our integration technology, but in reverse." "Explain," Chen demanded, even as she directed the Valiant through a complex evasive maneuver. "Our integration works because it's harmonious, two different patterns choosing to work together. The tear is the opposite. It's a forced breach between dimensions, held open by the Void Hunter's dominant space technology. Lyra's form brightened with understanding. Then we can use that. Not to close the tier, but to invert it, Dr. Chen finished. Turn their own dimensional bridge against them. The plan came together quickly. The Allied fleet shifted formation, surrounding the tear in a complex geometric pattern that only integrated human Sylphian crews could maintain. Each ship began generating a carefully calibrated energy field, their combined effect creating a massive resonance pattern. The Void Hunters, sensing the threat, launched everything they had. Space filled with crystalline weapons fire and biological weapons, but the Allied fleet held firm. The resonance built, amplified by the perfect coordination between human and Sylphian technologies. Dimensional inversion in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Chen counted down. The tear suddenly flared with blinding light. Where it had been a dark wound in space, it now became a brilliant bridge, but flowing in the opposite direction. The Void Hunter ships closest to it were caught in its pull, their own dimensional technology betraying them. It's working, Wang reported. The tear is pulling them back to their own dimension. Their technology can't resist the harmonic resonance. One by one, the Void Hunter ships were dragged back through the tear, their attempts to resist only hastening their retreat. The massive dimensional ships they'd brought through went first, their size working against them in the inverted dimensional flow. Full power to the resonance field, Chen ordered. Let's finish this. The final moments of the battle were spectacular. The remaining Void Hunter ships, caught between the Allied fleet's weapons and the pulling force of their own inverted portal, broke apart under the strain. The tear itself began to shrink, its energy being redirected back to its source dimension. When it finally closed, the silence in space felt profound. No trace of the tear remaining, Dr. Chen reported, and the dimensional readings are stabilizing. They won't be able to force another breach, at least not anywhere near this space. The victory celebration that followed was unlike anything either species had seen before. On Haven Station, humans and Sylphians gathered together, their integrated forms creating displays of light and power that represented their new shared culture. We did more than win a war today, Lyra said, addressing the gathered crews. We proved that the greatest power in the universe isn't force or domination. It's the choice to work together, to become more than we are alone. Captain Chen nodded. The Void Hunters thought they could conquer this dimension by forcing their way through, by taking what they wanted. They never understood that true strength comes from building something new together. In the months that followed, the Human-Sylphian Alliance became a beacon for other species in the galaxy. The integration program was refined and adapted, offered to any species who chose to learn from both cultures. Haven Station became Haven Prime, the first of many combined outposts that represented a new way of living among the stars. You know, Martinez said to Chen one day, watching ships of various species moving around Haven Prime. When humanity first reached for the stars, we thought we were looking for new worlds to explore. Instead, Chen finished, we found new ways to evolve, not through conflict or competition, but through choice, Lyra added, her glow mixing with the station's lights, through the willing exchange of strengths between those who choose to stand together. Outside the station, a new class of ship began its maiden voyage, its design a perfect blend of multiple species technologies, its crew representing the best of what each culture had to offer. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if reflecting the light of possibilities that came when different peoples chose to become something greater together. The legacy of Earth and Sylphia would echo through the galaxy for generations to come, not as conquerors or victims, but as the first to prove that true evolution came from cooperation, not conflict. The void between stars was no longer empty. It was filled with the light of shared knowledge, shared strength, and shared hope for the future.